What's up? My name is JD, coming at you with this is the end of season 2. Basically, season 2. In season 1, Deadliest Warrior did a Back for Blood, where they broke down how much of season 2, who in season 2 would win in a battle, an all-out battle. So I will go ahead and do that. I'm gonna go ahead and do theirs first. They had Attila the Hun winning. I'm gonna break it down into 2 different categories. One is going to be only ancient warfare, which means no firearms, and another one's going to be early firearms. Okay, that's the best way to put it. So to break it down into their list and then my list. Their list had Attila the Hun beating Alexander the Great, so I'm going to go off of that. Attila the Hun, the Zande Warrior, Rajput Warrior, Persian Immortal, and the Comanche. Okay, in this battle, Attila the Hun, I think he first off I'm gonna say Zande Warrior is out. He has no armor. Okay, some of his weapons are cool. I like a lot of his weapons personally, but he's out. Okay, so Zande Warrior is out. He's the first one out of this battle. So that leaves us with the Comanche, the Persian Immortal, the Rajput Warrior, and the Attila the Hun. Okay, the next one I believe is out is the Rajput Warrior. Well, hold on. Let's go to the Comanche first. Comanche, I gotta think about this for a second. Comanche would, he has a decent range weapon, but I think Comanche would be out. He has no armor. And as much as I would love to keep Comanche in, because I think Comanche is probably one of the better fighters out of this season, the no armor really puts him at a huge disadvantage. You have the Persian Immortals who have armor, and you're shooting arrows. You have the Rajput Warrior who have armor, and you're trying to shoot arrows at them. I think other weapons would penetrate their armor, don't get me wrong. And then you're looking at Attila the Hun, who, all of them don't have super great armor, so I gotta rethink that for a second. I think they're out. I just don't think they're gonna stand much of a chance in this battle. And along with that, I'm also gonna throw Attila the Hun out there. I would say Attila the Hun would be out before the Comanche. I think Attila the Hun, older age weapons, and I think the Comanche were just much more effective at killing, and they're much more effective with their weapons than the Attila the Hun is. But Attila the Hun is out, in my opinion. Comanche would also be out. So this comes down to the Persian Immortals versus the Rajput Warrior. The Persian Immortal have armor that is plated metal. Okay, it's plated metal. So you're factoring in plated metal. It took a guy who has arms like, I have pretty big arms, but not my big. It's bigger than mine. Okay, he has arms the size of my legs, and it took him really hard slices to break some of those. So after in a knockdown drag out fight, he'd probably end up winning. But you got to understand the Rajput Warrior and the Persian Immortal. I'm gonna go and the Rajput Warrior will have an advantage because there's a lot less armor or a lot less of the body being covered. Okay. That's a factor. You got a lot less armor a lot less of the body being covered. So the Rajput Warrior does have an advantage there. Okay. So that makes his Kunda a lot more effective. It makes his Shukram a lot more effective. The Persian Immortal has a wicker shield, so that will factor in to him not being as effective against the Rajput Warrior. Let me see here. I gotta think about the Persian Immortal. They're gonna be on chariots, so that's gonna be definitely a game changer in my opinion. They have a bow and arrow. The Rajput Warrior has nothing that is considered long distance. The bow and arrow has a range of 50 to 70 yards, so the bow and arrow can shoot and kill the Rajput Warrior before they get anywhere near close. So the Persian Immortal already has an advantage out of the gate. The second thing is they have a Saguris, which is basically a sword. It's a sword. It's an axe. It's an axe, and they have a spear, and they can use both of those off a horseback. Okay, or not off horseback, off a chariot. And they were masters of using chariots early in their wars. So the Rajput Warrior is at a huge disadvantage there because all their weapons they need to get very close. The only one they don't have to get close with is a Shukram, but you're not going to throw a Shukram accurately at someone who's riding on top of a chariot while they're coming at you. Okay. This battle really heavily favors the Persians just because the things that they have are very effective against guys on horseback or guys on the ground. Okay, so the Qatar is going to be not effective because you're not going to be able to punch a guy who's sitting on a chariot unless you stop the chariot. But to stop the chariot, you got to get past the bow and arrow, you got to get past the spear, and then when you get that past that, he's got bronze armor, which you can't punch through bronze armor. Okay, so you got to punch around bronze armor. He also has a wicker shield, so you got to factor that in the shield. Then you're factoring in the fact that he also has other weapons you got to deal with. So the Qatar is very ineffective. Shukram is effective only up close, but you're not as effective because, sir, he still has armor, but you still have to hit this part of the body to kill him. Okay, and he's moving. The chariot's constantly going to be moving. You also got to avoid another thing, which it can't kill you, which is the chariot scythe. It can't kill you. I'm not going to say it's going to kill you. They can't prove it in a test and kill you. But it's something you got to look out for. And that's why getting close to the guy is going to be hard. You have the mid-range weapon, which is the whip is the only thing I think will actually be effective. It might knock them off the chariot. It's gonna keep them at bay. They're not going to be able to hit you because they're trying to avoid that. So that is the only weapon I think actually has a little bit of effectiveness. And then the Kunda, which is their big 3-foot-long sword. You're not going to get close enough. You're not going to get close enough. You're not. You're not going to get close enough to actually kill, because the guy's on horseback. Not just on horseback, but the guy's on he's on a chariot. Okay, he's on a chariot. The Persian Immortal will emerge from this season as the best warrior by far. Based on their wins. Now, based on my wins, it's a little bit different. Let's see here. So that's who I think would win pretty controllably. Would be the Persian Immortal, because everything's from chariot except for the archers, except for the arrows, and the arrows have a range of 50 to 70 yards. So, and they're pretty accurate. They're gonna get a lot of kills before the Rashford warrior gets even when they're close to throw a chakram at them, and by then they'll be on the chariots riding around killing them. So that's how I see that battle playing out. Now, based on what I believe, if they use Alexander the Great properly, I think Alexander the Great would have beaten Attila the Hun. That's the first thing. Zongay Warrior would still be in effect. I think Zongay Warrior would have still won. Roman Centurion would have won. Persian Immortal, obviously he won. And the Comanche would be in this as well. And this is who I have winning, so it's going to be a little bit different. Just, again, the fact that there's no armor. The Zongay Warrior and the Comanche are both out. I like the Comanche. Comanche is one of my favorite fighters from Season 1. They're hit-and-run tactics. Everything's off horseback. They have good archership. Things like that. Just no armor is really the key factor here. Okay? Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great, I'm going to have to... I can't really explain to you what he would have had at his disposal, because I'm just going to eliminate Alexander the Great. I think if he had his proper array of weapons, he has a lot more dimensions to fight in a battle than anyone else here, really, but I'm not going to have Alexander the Great, so I'm just going to disqualify him right away. So that leaves the Centurion versus the Persian Immortal. I think the Centurion by far wins this, and here's why. Centurion has an effective shield where he can hunker down behind and not get shot by a bow and arrow. They have a technique they use called Tostito form, where they actually put the shields up and hunker down behind, and they actually close the gap whenever enemies are shooting arrows at them. So I think the Persian Immortal arrow is a little bit ineffective. Okay. Then when they do get in close enough range, even if the Persians want to ride around their chariots, they still have the Pilum. The Pilum can A, kill a horse, B, actually hit the guy on it, and C, can penetrate their armor. You got to test the fact that the arrow can actually penetrate the Centurion's armor, and it definitely can't penetrate the shield. You're not going to sit there and tell me it can penetrate the shield. It ain't going to penetrate the shield. So that's something that's just not going to happen. Okay. The Persian's arrow. So let's just assume it can penetrate the armor, but you can't penetrate the shield. So I'll give you the benefit of the doubt there. Nothing says that the chariot scythe, there's a reason why chariot scythes were not much effective after a while, is because the Romans actually had a technique for dealing with that. They would actually set the shield down, and whenever the side came up, they would set the shield a little bit closer and angle it, and that would flip over. The side would hit it and roll up on it and flip over the chariot. So the chariot scythe would be rendered pretty much useless. So the bow and arrow and the chariot scythe would be rendered useless as long as the centurion had his shield, which centurion's going to have his shield. Okay? He always has a shield. The centurion does not have a shield. It's something that's ingrained into his DNA to always have his shield, always have a gladius, and always have pilums. That's how they built their empire. Okay? The pilum will penetrate the armor and the shield of the Persian. I believe the pilum would be able to be thrown close enough that it would actually hit the centurion or the Persian on the chariot. Okay, the shield would be effective enough to stop the Persian spear from trying to penetrate it. The centurion is just they're not going to rush into battle. They're not just going to run up to a chariot. They're going to gradually close in. They're going to gradually close in. They're going to gradually close in. They're going to narrow the gap. They're going to wait for that moment, and then they're going to get in the right spot and knock you off of it. Once you're going to lunge for that shield, they're going to turn it and let you fall forward and lose your own momentum against you. Stuff like that. They just know how to use their shield properly. They're too effective at it. The pilum again will penetrate any armor. The scorpion again, I think, is irrelevant. Or the Delabrax. So let's say it gets to a one-on-one battle. You're talking about bronze armor versus plated chainmail. So the bronze armor does have a benefit of not being able to slash it, but you can still stab through it. Okay, but you're also looking at a shield compared to a wicker shield. So I do think this. I think it's a little bit closer than people would think. I think the Roman centurion. You gotta look at the people in history who are the most effective at killing. The Roman centurion was one of the most effective killers in the history of this world. They really were one of the most effective. They narrowed warfare down to a basic science. Okay? Protect yourself from arrow fire, close the gap, fight hand to hand. And when you get close enough, de-shield them with the pilum, or you just kill them with them if they don't have shields. And then fight organized, fight as a group. Stick out your shields, stab their gut. Very simple. Very simple laydown. Just like the Spartans from last season. Spartans from last season, I think, were the best warrior. Them and the knight were really close, in my opinion. But the Roman centurion is by far the best warrior and the most effective warrior of this one. Really, where the centurion is going to have issues is against someone who can penetrate the armor and is just... I think if you had Spartan versus Roman centurion... I think actually that's the only one I think would actually I think that would be a really good fight, by the way. Roman centurion versus a Spartan. I would love to see that. If I had to pick, God, that's a tough one. Because the gladiator the Roman centurion has chainmail, so that is an advantage for the Spartan. That is an advantage. The Spartan has more reach because of his spear. God, that's a close one. I don't know. I'd have to. If my money was on, I'd have to pick the Spartan because of the way the shield was designed. It was made to actually hit people with the scutum, which was made more for defense only. It wasn't made to actually use as an offensive weapon. The Spartan shield was. So I would give that an edge. When it comes to swords, I give the Gladius the edge. The Gladius was a better sword. But where the Gladius kind of faults is the fact that the Spartan has bronze cuirass armor. So that is a factor as well. And then you got to factor in I do give Gladius that edge, but I do think they do have a little bit of a disadvantage because their armor doesn't protect against stabs. It only protects against slashes. The pilum, I think, would be where the Roman centurion would have an edge. Again, he only has two. And again, I'm not sure if the pilum could penetrate the Spartan shield. Spartan shield is made to be tough. It does not get a lot of things don't get through that. That would be something I would see. Because if the Spartan shield could be penetrated, I would say that would be a game changer, but I'd have to see it before I believe it. The javelin, same thing. I have to see the javelin get through their armor. So basically the pilum and the javelin kind of canceled out. Unless I can see the pilum go through the Spartan shield. I don't think the javelin will go through the scutum, the Roman centurion shield. And then The Scorpion is irrelevant. So you have, and then the Lobber Axe. To use that axe, you have to use 2 hands, which is advantage Spartan. So I think the Spartan would edge this battle out, not much better. But the reason why the Centurions were effective is it's something they don't really. It is part of the factor, but I still think they would be the best warrior from season 2. The Roman Centurion, first off, is fighting. They fight well as a unit. That's the first thing. Second, they pair that up with other things. Spartans were always Spartans. They had a javelin it through to break up ranks, and then they hunker down behind the shield, get in the phalanx formation, charge forward with the shields and the spears, and if it broke up, they had a sword on the short sword, the Xiphos. Okay. The Roman centurions had onagers. They had scorpions. They had cavalry. They had archers. They had villistas, which were basically guys that ran in with a bunch of pilums, like a handful of them, and threw a bunch of them, and then ran away from the battle. Okay, so there's a lot of things that factor into this battle that are not being factored in. They're just maybe looking at what the centurion has and what they're going to use to their. If it was just them in this battle, what would they use? If you had a group of centurions versus a group of Spartans, I still think Spartans would take the edge, mainly because of their unity as a fighting force. So that's basically it for this episode. This season was a lot smoother because a lot more of their battles were tested better. Other than the 2 that I mentioned, only 2 from this season really irked me. The rest of them were pretty accurate. Maybe a couple kills here and there. Some weapons would or would not be as effective, but they didn't test it, so you can't really tell that. But that's it. My name's JD. I'm gonna come out with season 3. Analyze season 3 here soon. Season 3, in my opinion, got a lot of things really correct. They factor in general shit. They factor in diet, for God's sakes. They factor in stamina. They factor in all these things, which the Roman centurion is going to have an advantage in all these facets. So, I will go over season. I will look over season. Actually, I'm not going to look over season 3 right now because I have 2 I wanted to talk about from the firearms era. So that'll be my next video. So see ya.